guys, Cousin Benny coming to you on Sunday the 27th with a video covering my scanning procedure for setting up for the week ahead. Okay, this is for Nicholas. He asked this specifically, so this is what I'm going to do. First thing I look at is FinViz, and this is the landing page, obviously. When you first type in finviz.com, what I typically do is go to Screener. Okay, on the left side here, I typically look for the market cap somewhere between mid cap and large cap, depending on the scans. Now, I know ahead of time that when I clicked large, I got a very small assortment, but I'm going to click on mid cap here for now. Now, next thing I'm going to do is look at my short percent. I like to know that I have some shorts in these positions, okay, so that any rallies, in the case of the market, the overall market moving higher, I'm looking for longs right now, okay. Such is not the case because we're somewhat overbought, but pretend that the market is moving higher. I'm selecting my short percent of 10, okay. So the next thing I look at is I click on charts to see what I've come up with, and I want to click on technical right here, these tabs. And what I specifically want to do is I want to look for a pattern. I want to look for bullish patterns, okay. If I select a channel down, these tend to break to the upside. Or we could look at a wedge down, and we can see what our choices are. So all of these have greater than 10% short. Most of these have broken out to the upside, and it's a very quick way of running a scan. You could further break this down just looking at the indicators here that you can click off on. You can look at average true range to see if there's more than $1 or $2 trading during the day. If you're interested in scalping something, you can see this further narrowed my range. So now all I have is Melanex. I can click on the chart, and I can see specifically information that I want to see. Books per share, target price, short percent. These are the kind of things that I look at. If there's going to be any dividend paid out, so I have to be worried about, and so forth. So that's finviz.com. Now, considering the markets are moving higher, I'd only be looking for bullish patterns. But however, we are very close to a top, in my opinion. It's just my opinion. So what I would typically do is I'd be looking for channels up, okay, and I would look for any average true range. And we can see that we have CRE in this mix, broke out of an upward sloping channel. C-Trip is breaking down, okay. In this case, I'd be looking for shorts. We have Expedia breaking higher. FSLR down on the lower trend line, or the 50 period, and the lower trend line down here. The IYR is trying to get back up to this upper trend line. You get the general idea. Lennar. So these are some very well-known names. That's the reason why up here I don't select stocks that are in small cap, okay, or micro. I mean, that's just ridiculous. You get so many choices, and you really don't want to be trading these anyway. Okay, the next site that I use quite extensively is tradesignalonline.com. This is a German site, and it has some really interesting features that I'll show you about right here. So if you look right here, you can see the term scanner. We'll click on that, and because I'm logged in, you can see my login here. Create an account. I have created an additional indicator to what they have, and I'm scanning the S&P 100 using Ichimoku. Okay, so this is what I'm going to do now. I'm going to click Start, and here I have my results. Okay, so very quickly I can look at these thumbnails. I can see that we had a Kumo breakout last week on Baker Hughes. Most of these are all bullish, as you would expect. DuPont, JP Morgan Chase is bounced off of Dickinson. Medtronic, you can see a lot of these are putting in bull flags, but I'm very concerned about the market right now. So if this were a month ago, the middle of November, and these charts were breaking out this way, I'd be looking for Kumo breakouts or some other bullish Kumo pattern. You can see Verizon here is down at below Kumo, and being the markets are overbought, this is what I'd look at. I'd look for a move back up to Kumo and watch for a rejection there, and then I would take a short in this particular. You can draw a visual trend line through here, and you can also see that we're in a descending channel. So there's a possibility this breaks to the upside, so you have to be aware of that. So that's TradeSignalOnline.com. Now you can set up other types of scans, but for me, I just use a custom scan for Ichimoku. They have other scans that are pre-set up, and you can look through the site. Just create a free login, and you can set this up yourself. And the way you do that is you click on Add an Indicator. Okay, it's based on the 100. We come down here, and we would select any number of listings here. If you're looking at ADX bars or MA, you're looking at average true range, Bollinger Bands. You could select Bollinger Bands, and you have Bollinger Bands overlaid over Ichimoku, which is not what I wanted. So you'd have to go back and adjust that, but you get the general idea. There is help and support, and there are how-tos on the site as well if you want to learn how to create your own custom scans. The next one, and not necessarily in this order, is stock charts. I'm a member here, and one of the first things I like to do is click on these predefined scan results over here, and then you can go down this list and look for anything that piques your curiosity. I like to use candlestick patterns. Okay, in a bullish market, I like to see bullish reversal patterns where we might have a star, morning star. I like that pattern quite a bit, actually, candlestick pattern. Bullish engulfing patterns, you can click on this and see that there are 3 on the New York Stock Exchange. Nothing I'm interested in here. I would be looking for a big cap that fits my criteria. Continuation patterns, and so on and so forth. I also like to use point and figure a lot. We have a triple top breakout here on 207 charts, so we can look at that. We can go scan through the list, look for sectors that are currently seeing money rotating into them. I'll get to that in a minute. Say residential REITs, we look at apartment investment, and we would look at the point and figure on that. You can see that we have a double top breakout here. Moving down the list, we can see IBM here. Let's take a look at that point and figure chart. You can see we have a spread triple top here, and we're right at resistance. So depending on what happens this week, we might look for a spread triple top breakout or a 3-box reversal, which is very common in point and figure patterns. Now this is a traditional chart. You can see right here underneath point and figure pattern. What you might want to also do is come down here and select ATR. Okay, so average true range, and update the chart. That figures in current volatility. So you can see that we're at a double top here, and we might break out at 210. So keep an eye on that with regard to IBM and using stock charts for your scans. Now going back to point and figure patterns, because we're at resistance on the S&P 500, what I'd be looking for is things like triple bottom breakdowns or spread triple bottom breakdowns and so forth. You can read down through the list here. So let's take a look at what's in here. Now let's take a look at ultra short. I don't trade these, but you can take a look at SDS. And if you had been covering this scan when the market started to break out in November, this happened in January. Note the 1. Okay, but these breakdowns started to happen in November and December. We started to see this move lower from 2011 December, when we had that November, December, when we had that nice rally, to the current rally now. So that's stockcharts.com. Again, on stock charts, go to free charts, and let's go down here to S&P sector ETFs, And let's take a look at how the sectors are performing and where the money's rotating. This is typically one of the first things I do before I do my scans, so I can narrow down what I want to look for. Alright, so we're going to go down here at the bottom. We're going to click bar. I'm going to click on S&P 500 so that everything's relative to the S&P, the sectors, the S&P as a whole. And we can see we really, over the last 200 days, have done what the chart suggests. Now we go to the last 2 days. We can see what's starting to break down. Okay, so I'd be looking for shorts in some of these sectors that are breaking down. Now, if we go over to barcharts.com, this is something that Heart Pumper brought out to my attention. You can go to sectors, you can see what each of these are doing, and clicking on a list, of course, you can see inside these sectors how everyone's doing, these companies. And going to the industry groups here, you can see who's been doing the best, top 100 stocks, and on down the list. You can see the performance of finance, mortgage, building, residential. Click on that, and we can see that residential building has done very well last week. You can see the stocks in the group. Ranking these by percent, you can see who's been doing the best, and you can further sort these. Okay, and then I shift over to StockTwits and I see what's been playing out for the past week. Okay, I keep an eye on this. And I also look at my stream, who's been posting, what they've been posting, if any of the things that I'm looking at coincides with what they're looking at. That's a pretty easy way to scan. I mean, I did this in under 13 minutes so far in this video, so that gives you a general idea of how I scan. Then what I do is I take the charts that I really liked and I go into my chart program and I set my charts up and draw my trend lines and so forth and create my strategy. Then I will take that list and further hone it down until it's like a group of 6 to 10 stocks that I'll watch during the day. With free stock charts, they also have a scanner here that you can click on. You can create a new scan or open an existing scan, looking for stochastics, for example, and this gives you a list that you can go down through. And if you just hit your space bar, let's bring up a chart with stochastics on it. Okay, going down the list, you can see that we're oversold on techs and we popped. So I'd be looking for patterns here. Okay, that's not nice. You don't want to see a shooting star on a pop-up and closing right at the 200 period. I'd expect to see this move back down a little bit. CompuWare, you can see Bollinger Bands squeezed quite nicely, and now we're starting to break to the upside with stochastics oversold. So this is a nice pattern. This is something I would put in my notebook for tomorrow. Okay, something of an ascending triangle breakout. Zoom out a little bit on this. Okay, you can see all the EMAs in this case were all headed higher on CompuWare. I'm not recommending buying this, but I'm just looking at the pattern that it broke out. We'll look for this after 10 o'clock. If this continues to move higher after 10 o'clock, the opening range is in. I tend to think that stocks generally move higher if they are above their opening range, or move lower if they're below their opening range after 10 o'clock in the morning. Going down through the list some more. Deck, we've traded this a lot. Nice pattern. Stochastics looks pretty good. Actually a nice pattern. And let's take a look at the weekly. Yeah, that's what I thought. You can see this pattern starting to break higher. And stochastics is okay for both the daily and the weekly. So I would typically be looking for a shorter time frame. If this stayed down here in the morning, I'd be looking for this off of this 50 period moving average here. Okay, maybe a pop higher. And going through the time frames and seeing how every time frame looks. Doji here, that's moving lower. So the possibility this could move lower before it moves back up. Flagging out here on the 30 minute. Oversold or overbought. Hourly. Overbought. flagging, 4 hour. Okay, and then I would look at a fib retracement off of this last pivot up to that high. And if it continues to move higher, we could look at the 127 extension for a possible target, or if we start to move off of this level and the markets start to turn down on Monday, we could look for the 382 down here. Okay, or possibly move down to the moving averages. Alright, so that's how I use scans, how I put my thought process together for my trades going into the new week. Alright, and this specifically for Nicholas, a member in the Day Trader Bootcamp chat room. Please come and check us out for a 2-week free trial, and we'll see you in the room. Take care.